You're listening to the Teach Better Talk podcast featuring expert educators eager to share progressive tactics to reach more students. Teach Better Talk is created by teachers and fueled by passion. Let's get started.
Hey everyone, welcome to episode 168 of Teach Better Talk. My name is Ray Hewart, and I am with my hysterical friend, Jeff Gargis. Jeff Gargis, how are you?
I'm hysterical, apparently.
Well, I mean, you're okay. Let's not be dramatic.
We did laugh a lot.
We did. This was a fun
episode. We laughed a lot. This was a lot of fun. I really needed this today. It was great. So I'm doing great, Ray. How are you doing? How are you hanging? Are you good?
My day has been out of this world. If you want to talk about two educators that I so admire, I got to talk to both of them today. I am very, very happy. That's for sure.
You get to talk to me every Monday. What's the big deal?
No. Not you, Jeff Gargis. I got to do a daily drop-in this morning with LaVonna Roth, and I got to do a podcast recording with Kim Bearden. I think my day's been made. What else is there? This is it. We've had the best day.
That was a good day. A good day for you. I like it. So, this was a little bit longer episode because we asked I took us off topic right off the bat with Kim. So I want to get there pretty quickly, but I do want to see, can you mention really quick, we have something pretty cool going on that we just announced that's going on for the next 6 weeks. This new webinar series that we have going on, Better at a Distance. Am I saying that right?
Yes, that's true. It's called Better at a Distance.
I should know that way better than my confidence level right now. Can you give us I'm going to do it because you told me, you joked that I do this to you all the time, but I'm going to do it for real. Can you give us the 60-second version of what this is and how do I get in?
I can. So we do a lot of professional development in districts, and we do a lot of free professional development in our private Facebook group. But so many of you have reached out saying, Ray, I'm not in either of those areas. My district hasn't brought you guys in to do PD yet, and I don't have Facebook, or I'm not choosing to be a part of the Facebook group. Where can I get some training? And so we decided that we are kicking off a teacher webinar series titled Better at a Distance. So here's how we're going to make it work. And we wanted to make sure that it still upheld all the elements that we love about Teach Better. We really, really value family. We really, really value deep discussion. We want to make sure this is really purposeful if you choose to participate. So here's what we did. We are going to do a webinar training on Monday afternoons and then do a Q&A on that same topic on Friday afternoons for 6 weeks. So the topics are super good. I'm reading it off of my phone for those of you that are watching on our YouTube channel of our introduction. But we have remote learning essentials. Then the following week is the grid method plus remote learning. We have ending the year strong during remote learning. The next one is meaningful classroom celebrations. Then our 5th week is dedicated to educator mental health. And our final week of our Better at a Distance webinar series is all about transitioning back to the new normal. And let me just give a shout out really quick. So this is a free webinar series where you're not only going to get the training, but also a Q&A on that topic. So you're really getting 12 sessions in this 6-part series. But what I love is that we are bringing in our speakers network to help us do this. So we are getting training not only from Chad Ostrowski and myself, but also Mandy Freilich is coming to hang out. Kevin Butler is going to come join the fun, and a few others that we'll be celebrating later. So I really would encourage you guys, sign up. It's free. You'll have access for a lifetime because we're going to house all these recording after the fact in our academy. And in my mind, it's a win-win. So come join us. It kicks off on next Monday on the 4th of May.
Ray, how do I get in?
Oh, that's super easy. teachbetter.com/webinar series. That's it. Register. Boom. It's free. Boom.
Name and email. Boom. You're in. I love it. That's awesome. Thanks for sharing that. So I do want to let's get into this episode. You already mentioned a little bit about it, how excited you were about it, but this was a great episode. If you don't know Kim Bearden is a co-founder, executive director, and a language arts teacher at the highly acclaimed and world-renowned Ron Clark Academy, which is, if you don't know, is this incredibly innovative middle school and educator training facility down in Atlanta. Kim has had more than 75,000 educators from all around the world visit her classroom. and attend her workshops and find better ways to engage students, promote academic rigor, and create a climate of this in culture really in the classroom to promote success for their students. Beyond that, Kim was also honored at the White House back in 2016 for being inducted into the National Teachers Hall of Fame, which is incredible. She's also author of a few amazing books. You probably know her Talk to Me. She's got a new book coming out as well. And we're going to talk about what that new book is. She dives into it. It sounds awesome. We're going to let Kim tell us all about that. And you got to listen through because Kim may or may not be giving away a copy of Talk to Me. So maybe you listen through and find out how to win that copy from Kim directly. So anything else, Ray? I know it's a big one because you've actually been in the classroom. You've been down there. You've seen her speak. You've seen her teach. And now we had her on the podcast. Anything you want people to really focus on while listening to Kim talk? Other than everything, literally.
I know. I mean, you joked with me before, after, and during. I fangirled out the whole time, guys. She really is an amazing educator that does a ton to support others. She's extremely generous. And I really would encourage you all to not only enjoy this amazing podcast, there's so many takeaways, but also connect with her because this is just the beginning.
Yes, I love it. And I gotta add on, and one more thing is just the fact that Kim is just so genuine. What you hear, what you see is what you get when the camera's on or off, when the mic's on or off, it doesn't matter. She is just awesome. It was so much fun. And we talked for a long time before and afterwards as well. So super excited for you guys to hear this one here. Let's get into episode 168 with Kim Bearden.
We're going to get right back to the episode, but I wanted to make sure you had the details of what the team is continuously doing to support all of the educators that are striving to reach their students at a distance. Now, while we will continue to push out content like blogs, podcasts, free downloads, and online courses to support you, we wanted to do more. So you can meet our team live Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday in our private Facebook group at 7 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Eastern for a daily drop-in. During this time, we'll be providing PD for all educators and answering your questions to make sure you feel supported. We'll meet you over in our private Facebook group. You can request to join at teachbettergroup.com or simply by searching Teach Better Team on Facebook. We'll meet you there. Now, let's get back to the episode.
All right, we are here. We are chatting with Kim Bearden. And Kim, we're already laughing and having a good time and joking around, and that gets me excited because I just know we're going to have a blast doing the podcast. We're super excited to have you on. Really excited to sort of dive in, learn more about you and your story and what you got going on. But before we get too deep, just how are you feeling right now?
You know what? I can't complain. I'm doing the very best I can be under these current situations. So I'm grateful. It's one of those times I think all of us have paused to stop to say what's truly important. What are we grateful for? And made us appreciate relationships and our loved ones more than ever before. And I'm sheltering in place with a house full right now. I have 3 18-year-old sons. I have 2 alumni who are living here with me, and my husband, and 2 dogs and 2 cats. So we're
wow.
Yes. So
you're definitely not lonely.
I am not lonely. I am not.
Well, Kim, we're so excited to have you here, and I want to make sure our listeners learn all about you. I've been following you for years and years and years, and I've gotten so many ideas that I've been able to truly take and bring right back to my classroom. So you have been so big in just me creating my own educational experience. So I want to make sure our listeners get to hear about what you do in education, and I can only imagine it's a hard question to answer. So can you share a little bit about what you do?
Absolutely. And first of all, thank you, Ray, for that. That means so much. Both of you all are an inspiration, and you do so much. So I'm grateful to be here with you all. But I am the co-founder and executive director of the Ron Clark Academy located in Atlanta. And I also teach language arts there. And our school is a school for students in 4th through 8th grade. But in addition to being a school, we're also an educator training facility. So normally when we are experiencing a regular school, we have educators from all over the globe actually who come to our school almost every week, sit in our classrooms, watch us teach, and take their methods and ideas back to their classrooms. Not because we're perfect. There's no such thing as a perfect educator, but because we believe that educators, we all learn the most when we can watch each other doing our craft. We've kind of transitioned to be doing a lot of virtual things right now with educators during this time, but our school is a really great place. And in addition to that, I am also I've been an educator for 33 years, but I'm also an author and I am a mom, and just very, very grateful for all the roles I get to play.
Lots of roles, and I love it. And you can just feel the passion of everything you do in your voice when you answer that, which I just love. I'm curious to dive into. You said you're shifting to virtual. Can you walk us through sort of what was that like when you and your team started thinking, okay, hey, like this is happening now. Kids aren't coming in. How do we shift? What we do? Like, what were the things that went through your mind? What were the most important pieces? And then how did you sort of manage yourself, your classroom, but also as the executive director, the entire team there and everything that you're doing?
Right. The very first thing was, I think all of us, we had to shift within a 24-hour period. Many of us just, what in the world is happening? Our new normal? Surely this is just for a week or 2 weeks. And then to find out, in our state, we found out rather quickly it would be till the end of the school year. So the very first concern, with me is always the emotional well-being, not only of my students, but my staff as well. And so there was this immediate sense of mourning and grief and loss. Like this can't be. The end of the year is when all the cool stuff happens. That's when we have all these celebrations and the time coming together and celebrating our graduates. And so, immediately my mind started to think, how can we do this? How can we make sure we're supporting everyone? And then, of course, the academic piece was important too. And, we're fortunate that our kids do all have iPads, and we had already ensured earlier in the year that everybody had internet access. And so I know some schools are struggling with even how do you get meals in children's bellies. And we were fortunate that we already were able to provide digital instruction to our kids. And so our last day of school physically was on a Thursday, and on Monday morning we started with teaching digitally. But I'll tell you, we've learned a lot from that. I've grown so much. We overdid it. We hit the ground. We hit the ground. We're like, okay, we're not going to skip a beat. We're going to do every single thing. We're going to have every single class. We're going to teach them online. And what that was too much. So after 1 week, we quickly, talked to the parents. We assessed things. We say, okay, we're going, this is not meeting our emotional needs, to just almost take a breath. And so we've definitely modified our schedule, how many hours of online teaching we're doing, but then we also balance out with some fun activities for our students. And so we think it's a much healthier adjustment. And we're just like everybody, though, we're just doing the best we can. There's no perfect answer. There's no guidebook on how do you handle a pandemic. And so we're just doing the best we can.
Yeah, it really is. That's where everybody is the best we can. And we've heard that story from so many teachers and so many districts of, we went after it and we had to go, whoa, wait a minute, let's slow it down. This is a little too much right now. Mm-hmm. Curious, I don't know if you have this off the top of your head, but if you had to say, like, kind of how far did you, when you slowed it down, you kind of backed off the level, what did you think you cut it down to, like 50% of what it was at? Is it 75? Did you go even below? This is just one that's always curious to me as I'm talking to different people, because it's all over the place.
Well, what we did is actual instructional time in front of the screen for us, where our teachers are teaching online classes. We do use Zoom, and we use private Facebook groups and some other tools as well. We have classes from 9 to 12, 4 days a week. And we feel now, at first we were like all day long, every day. So that we feel like is very healthy. The other thing, though, was to help with our parents and our students, is that we realized that they were getting information from every teacher. It's too much. And getting explanations and where to go. We thought we have got to make everything centrally located for the sanity of our parents and our students. So we have all of our assignments are in Google Classroom. Parents can go to one place. The schedule is sent out to parents. They have the Zoom link of every single class and the schedule, so that you don't have to keep getting emails. Oh, here's the Zoom link. Here's the link for this class. It's all done from now to the end of the year. And so all they have to do is go and click on that document. They know exactly where to go when. So it took some time for us to do that on the front end, but I feel like it has helped so much with the organization of it. And it's helped. Our parents have been so grateful, so appreciative, and expressing how now they feel like it's very helpful and meaningful, and they're really happy.
I love that. And I want to really echo the two big things that you said in the mix there, was that you talked to your students, you talked to your parents, and then you adjusted based on what they were saying for you. That's really, really important. So I was wondering if you could, just for a minute, if you could share us, I'm sure it's a longer story, but however you want to share it, I'm really interested to hear sort of the backstory, the founding story of this. I mean, everyone knows the Ron Clark Academy. If you haven't heard of it, you should definitely check it out. Like, I mean, people come, like you mentioned, from all over the world to see what you're all doing there and take things back. I know Ray rants and raves about all the time she's been down there and what it's done for her. Other things, but sort of how did it start? How did you get involved? Where did that all come from? Would you mind kind of take us back into history for a little bit?
Sure. So in the year 2000, I was very grateful to be honored as a Disney Teacher of the Year. That Disney used to have this massive awards educator program. They had televised on Lifetime television. They even dressed you in your gowns. They did everything in Disney fashion. It was really beautiful. And the same year I was honored, so was Ron Clark. And so the real backstory is that I was standing in the Century Plaza Hotel, and up walked three little children and two little boys in a tux, a little girl in a little gown, and they were about fifth grade students. And they said, "Oh, my name was Kim Stewart back then." They said, "Miss Stewart, we're so impressed on how you use a fashion show to teach descriptive writing. Could you please tell us more about it?" And I was like, "Disney thinks of everything. They have these little precious Disney children here who know my whole bio." Well, they were not Disney children or employees of Disney. They were Ron Clark students. And so he was teaching in Harlem at the time, and he had gone to everybody he could possibly go to actually raise funds to bring his whole class to the awards with him, and got them tuxedos and dresses. And he said, "You got to learn all about the people who are going to be here." They gave me a handshake. They looked me in the eye. And I was like, whoever taught these children, what an incredible educator he must be. And so I kind of met his students. Well, I did. I met his students before I met him. So when he was the overall Disney winner, I was the middle school winner. And so we got to spend a whole year together at different events. And when we would spend time together, we just hit it off. We had all this passion, all this enthusiasm. And so he said, "Kim, you and I, we should start a school together one day." But y'all know teachers say that all the time. Like, I was like, "Sure, we'll start a school together." When I was very happy where I was, I didn't think it would happen. And then Oprah had the Disney teachers on her show, but she was very taken with Ron, did this whole segment on him, and said that he should write a book. And he wrote a book called The Essential 55. Some of you may have read that book. But I tell you that part because the book, she made it one of her book picks, made it a New York Times bestselling. It was number 2 in the nation, right behind Harry Potter. And because, when Oprah would recognize these books. And so he called me back up and he said, "Kim, I'm going to take the money from this book. I'm going to put it in a foundation. I'm going to start the school. Come to Harlem. I want you to co-found the school with me." And I said, "Ron, that sounds beautiful. My family's here in Atlanta. I just can't move everybody to Harlem. But if you come to Atlanta, I'm in." So I actually won because he did come to school, is in Atlanta. So I guess I should feel valued for that. He came to Atlanta. We looked at 50 sites all over Metro Atlanta, and we came upon this old 100-year-old factory, eyesore in the community. And we took the money from the Essential 55. We purchased the facility, and then it took us 3 years. So a lot of times people will send me emails that say things like, "I want to start a school in the fall. Could you meet me for coffee and tell me how to do it?" I'm like, "It's like
In the
three, like it's like 3 years." So, we're very blessed to have the things we have, but it took us 3 years. And I know this is a whole long story to tell you, but so I do want people to know that there's patience behind it. I was actually working at another school at the time. I was a middle school principal, still in the classroom too. I always insist on teaching at least one class when I was a principal, and because my heart's in the classroom. But on that last year before we opened, I full-time committed to working with Ron on opening the school. And so it took us a while to piece together, because the funds ran out after we bought the building. And even though it was this 100-year-old rundown factory in Atlanta, it was still expensive, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we had to get the community to come together and support us. And the last piece of the puzzle I'll tell you is that he was like, "It's going to be great. You'll teach all the language arts and reading. I'll teach the math and the history, and we'll get a science teacher. And you know what? It'll be just the easiest. We'll travel around the world with kids. We'll let people come and sit in our classes and watch us teach. It'll be the greatest thing. It'll be so easy." And all of those things were true, but it was not easy. It was the hardest thing I've ever done, but the most meaningful thing professionally. So if I had known how hard it was, I don't know if I would have been brave enough. So I am so grateful to know that it just unfolded the way that it did. Yeah.
That's awesome. I did not know that story, so I really appreciate you sharing. That's great.
That was a long one, wasn't it?
No, that's a great one. And I think the mention of patience is so important. It's that whole overnight success. No, it's not an overnight success. It was 3 years, right? And I'm sure that wasn't the last time you guys had to work hard. So I love it. So I'm interested to hear your answer to this. So one of the things we always talk about on our podcast is failure, and talking about telling stories of times that we've had failure. And I always joke that I've been very fortunate to fail a lot, because I've learned from everything, that all my trips and stumbles and face plants along the way. I wonder if you can share a time in your journey that you've had a failure, a struggle, or a challenge you've had to overcome. Kind of share what happened, how did you overcome that, and then what did you take away from that experience?
Well, I just shared one already with you at the beginning, is that when we first started the digital teaching, we really didn't we should have maybe even taken a few days to, really set aside, okay, how are we going to do this? We just jumped in too quickly without the appropriate planning and taking into consideration all the different stakeholders involved. And so I kind of already explained one kind of one failure there, and I think that's important. I think what I guess because there's many things personally I've had failures in life and professionally, but I guess because we kind of talk about the history of the Ron Clark Academy, maybe because this kind of has a gem of advice for people, maybe that's important. So one of the things that Ron and I learned as we were trying to start and build something, and many educators try to build different kinds of divisions of what they do, is that we had to rely on connections with people. And we had to go to people and ask for help and ask for advice and things like that. And I think that one of the things that's really important to know that as you're building relationships with people, it's sometimes more important to ask for advice than it is to ask for money or ask for sponsorship. And you may think, well, why is that? Well, because if you go to people you value in your community and you say, I'm creating this, or I want to start this nonprofit, or I want to do this for my children, do you have any advice to offer me? There's value in that because, first of all, you learn to make the right choices before you make mistakes. But then after you take that person's advice, that second follow-up conversation is a great time to say, I've taken your advice and let me tell you how it benefited me. Let me tell you what happened. And quite often when you do that, then all of a sudden there's people like, you know what, this person is someone who is moldable. This person is someone who listens. And so quite often then the advice, then the sponsorship or the support is just offered by the person. And so that was a really important lesson for me to learn. And the other thing that we learned is that we made a lot of really close connections with individual people, which is important. But we connected with some organizations and we loved the connections we had, but people leave. People go to different businesses or they go to different companies. And once they leave, we realized, oh, wait a minute, we knew one person there. That was like our bestie. And oh, she's gone. And so then we realized the importance of a breadth of connections and that, you don't want to just rely on one person. You really want to, reach out to an entire organization, tell them things you're doing, work with them. And that's really a great way to nurture those connections that are needed, not just because you're trying to get something, but I'm talking about in life. We all know that relationship building is one of the greatest ways to amplify our purpose, to be able to reach out to people and be able to help people.
Oh, Kim, I think that's so important. I mean, your focus on connections is not only something that I hope educators really take on as an important element of their life, not only for us to grow, but also because it can really benefit our students, not only in the lessons we design, but the things that we can offer them. So that is so spot on. I love it. In terms of what's keeping you excited about education, I mean, I have followed so much of what you've done. You continue to just build people up and provide so many strategies for educators to be better every single day. And I have to know, what fuels your fire? What really gets you excited about the work that you're doing right now?
Well, I do think that people have understood from the Ron Clark Academy, at first when they could come and see what we're doing in person. In education, if you think about it, it's one of the only places where we go through our training to be educators, and then we go into a room and we close our doors. And you could work with the best teacher in the country, but never have seen that teacher teach. Because we're in silos. You'll sit in staff meetings together. You might work on a lesson together, but when do you watch one another doing the craft? And so I think that one of the things I'm really proud of at the Academy is people have started to understand, oh, there's value in watching another teacher teach. For some of us, we go through our student teaching experience, and y'all know if you were paired with a good teacher or a great one, that's great. But if you're paired with a mediocre teacher during student teaching, that may be the only teacher you ever watch in action. And so I love that now people are starting to understand the value of, I should just pop in and watch you teach that. Not because it's perfect, but because I'm going to learn from it. What would I do the same? What will I do differently? What could I take back to my classroom? But also in this new digital normal that I'm experiencing, I will tell you personally, I have had to grow at a huge rate with the use of technology. Now, in my classroom, with my students, it's a one-to-one initiative, and I've got a Promethean board, which I love and everything, but I tended to rely on the same things that I had kind of always grown comfortable to do. And this has forced me out of my comfort zone. I'd never even done a Zoom before, or GimKit or any of these other things. I'd never done any of those things. I've been doing this for 33 years. Y'all, I started with a chalkboard, and when I got an overhead projector, I thought I was killing it. so I'm excited when you try to look for the silver linings. I'm excited that there are things I have realized now that when I go back, hopefully sooner rather than later, that we'll be back in our classrooms right as we were with our students before. I think I'm going to be that much stronger of an educator because the tools that I've learned to use during this time. And so I'm going to be able to use those in different and new innovative ways in my classroom.
Oh, that's so spot on. I love that reflection because you're right that we're not only striving to, keep excited about the work we're doing, but truly with, COVID-19 really taking a toll on impacting how we do our day-to-day work, trying to, embrace the change and be our best is really at the forefront of the conversation for education right now. That's awesome. I know that you offer a ton of advice to educators. I have personally sat in keynote speeches that you've provided. I've actually seen you teach numerous times at the Ron Clark Academy. I mean, the work that you do, you are constantly throughout the books and the speeches and the webinars and all the facilitated discussion, you're constantly offering advice. But I have to ask, with an educator that might be listening right now, whether they're new to the field or maybe they're a veteran teacher and they've been in the classroom for a while and they're just really striving to carry this teach better mindset of being a little bit better today than they were yesterday and a little bit better tomorrow than they were today. What is your favorite piece of advice to offer educators?
Well, I think when we're talking about in the context of how you just framed that, I think that, one of the beautiful things that we have available to us is that we do have technology and social media. It can be both a blessing and a curse, right? It's a blessing because you're able to get ideas and share wisdom and make connections with other educators and collaborate and grow excited. When it becomes harmful is when you use it as a comparison tool to make you feel less than. And I think that's really, really important. I love, Ray, how you said today you're going to be a little bit better than yesterday, and each day incremental steps, but better than yourself, right? You don't have to compare yourself to everybody else because social media, let's face it, it's a filtered highlight reel. Very few people post, oh, this was an epic flop, and they don't post that. They post their wins, and we should celebrate their wins. But I've seen teachers saying, oh my gosh, I saw that there's that teacher made an entire bedroom into a classroom for home. Some of us are doing all we can do not to have our dogs crawling on top of us during the webcast. You don't have an extra space to set up, or this teacher uses all these tools and you may not. And so what I would tell teachers is that the single greatest thing, not only during this pandemic, but also in our classrooms, above all else, above all the whistles and bells and all the fancy things, is that you work on those relationships. And so for you during this time, it may be that you pick up the phone and you call a child and just say, hey, I've missed your face. How's it going? Are you doing all right? It may be that you send a thoughtful email to that child. And if you're doing that, to me, that's the most important thing. And that's something that any of us can do. That's the most important thing. And so the comparison trap is dangerous. Use other people's good work to celebrate it and to be inspired by it and to help drive your ideas and push you, but don't let it make you feel less than.
Jeff, that was the mic drop right there. That was it.
Yeah. I love that. I had a mentor when I was younger who someone that I quote all the time. I never mention his name, but I bring things up that he said to me a lot. One of the things he used to always say to us was, compete, but don't compare. So you can compete if you're competitive and you want to drive by using someone's ideas or their success to drive your success more, to learn from them and to try and grow. That's fine, but don't compare because people are in different spots. Everyone is in different spots in their career, and it's just like you said, like you can grab social media and use it for inspiration, for connection, for ideas, for challenging yourself, but don't compare because it is that highlight reel, right? I love that.
Absolutely.
And I love your spin on the teach better mindset of be better today than you were yesterday, be better tomorrow than you were today, be better than you, not better than everyone else, just be a little bit better you. I love that. So really cool. Before we jump into our 6 questions in 15 seconds or less, you're super awesome. So we're going to do a giveaway here that you like to do. So I want to do 2 things. One, we said you're going to do a giveaway of your book, Talk to Me, which is so awesome. So thank you so much for that. And we're going to make it really simple because Ray says that I always make our giveaway things too difficult. So if you're listening, whatever you're listening on, take a screenshot or a picture of whatever, of your phone or your tablet or your computer, wherever you're listening, take a screenshot of you listening right now and then tweet it out to us. Make sure you hashtag Teach Better Talk and tag Ray and I, and you should definitely tag Kim as well. And just let us know you're listening. We're going to pick someone randomly and Kim is going to shoot you a free copy of her book, Talk to Me. And that's so awesome. Thank you so much for doing that. For those who don't know, can you give us like the quick overview of what is Talk to Me all about?
Absolutely. So as I keep going back to the idea of relationships, we know they're the key to everything. And so Talk to Me, the subtitle is Find the Right Words to Inspire, Encourage, and Get Things Done. And so the book is about 6 principles about the way that we interact, not only with our students, but with parents, with our coworkers, and even in our personal lives. And so these principles are ones that I've used throughout the course of my life, but they will help anybody. Even when you're from day to day interactions, they're helpful. But if you ever are in one of those situations like that real challenging parent conference that you're nervous about, or maybe having to have a difficult conversation with a coworker, if you follow these principles and these mindsets, they really help to guide the conversation. It's not a script for what to say. It's authentic mindsets to help you be able to navigate. And so things like taking into consideration other people's perspective, the motivation behind why you do what you do, the importance of validation and appreciation. And so there's all these different little exercises even in the back of the book, though, to kind of help you practice and help you really hone in how you can communicate more effectively with others.
I love it. Are we allowed to talk about the new book, the upcoming book?
Yes, this is really exciting stuff.
That's coming very soon.
So Ray mentioned she's heard me speak several times, but I do want to, if anybody who's listening has ever heard me do a keynote, sometimes I do keynotes. I talk about my personal experiences and just a really rough experience I went through in my personal life. And just, we all have a story. And so people have always said, I wish you'd give us more of the scoop. And so this book, it's the download, it's the scoop, but it's not just a memoir because I that feels so like I'm too young to write my memoir. But what it is the book is called Fight Song. And it's got principles as well. It's 6 steps to passion, power, peace, and purpose. And so the book it has flashbacks where it starts all the way back in 1999 of things I was going through in my personal life with a divorce and betrayal and being financially broke and being a broken soul just in the floor of my closet, sobbing my eyes out. But what steps I took to find that purpose, that peace, that joy in my life. And it may sound like Debbie Downer book, it's not chicken soup for the depressed soul. It's it's actually written in a way that it has the flashback, but then there's a lot of humor instilled in it. Say, yeah, but here's what I needed to consider. These are the steps that I took to get to where I am. And it's not like I have a perfect life now because none of us does, but how I'm able to handle obstacles and challenges my way and have that sense of purpose and joy even when everything doesn't go as planned. And so the book is called Fight Song. Like I said, right now it's going to be released June 7th. It's possible it might be moved back to June 14th. I'm just waiting on the editor's final date, but I'll be posting a lot about that online as we get a little bit closer to the date of the release. And I'm really excited about it. A little nervous too, because whenever you publish a book, it's kind of like giving birth, and this time I'm putting my personal business out there. So,
yeah.
But hopefully it's done in a way that uplifts and helps people heal, but also gives them hope and a little bit of joy.
I love it.
Yeah, I can only assume educators are going to run out to grab that copy, order it on Amazon immediately. All of your books have been so wonderful. I can only imagine this one will be the best one yet. Who knows?
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, super excited for just that sort of authentic look, and that's really, really cool. So, all right, speaking of challenges, we're going to do a little challenge right here. We're going to do the next 6 questions. Your goal is to answer each one in 15 seconds or less. Are you ready?
Oh, gosh. I'm talkative. We know that. Okay, here we go. I'm going to focus.
I said it was going to be a challenge. Yeah, I wasn't lying to you. All right, here we go. What is one ed tech tool you cannot live without?
Lately, it's Zoom. I have to use Zoom every day.
Well, give us a book you're reading right now.
White Fragility by Robin DiAngelo.
Who do we need to follow on Twitter or Instagram today? You can give us up to 3.
Okay, Dr. VC Jones, Dr._VC Jones, that's Camille Jones. Hey, Corey Collins, HeyKoreyCollins for reading strategies. And I have to give my buddy Ron Clark, _.
Can we give a shout out really quick to Dr. Jones, who's keynoting the Teach Better Conference 2020 this year in October. We're so excited to have her.
She's a rock star, and y'all, as talented as she is in the classroom, she's just the most beautiful soul. Oh, I adore that woman.
So excited for that. Give us a good YouTube channel or website for educators.
Storylineonline.net. It has some different celebrities and just interesting people reading picture books. And even if you've got older kids, you can use those themes in picture books in a way that can help teach a lot of different content. And what's beautiful about it is that, when we're trying to read online, sometimes we don't have the great camera angles and the zoom ins of the pictures, and it's closed captioned, and there's just a plethora of just all different kinds of story genres there. And I think it's really cool.
Give us a daily, weekly, or monthly routine you think every teacher should get into.
Okay, so working out is really important, and I know some of you are probably already rolling your eyes, but this is my hack for working out. So, because I always had an issue for it. So right now, I try to work out in the mornings, and I'm not a morning person. So my trick is this: I put on my workout clothes and I sleep in them, and then when I wake up in the morning, I have to go work out, because if you go get in the shower, you have to take off those workout clothes and you did not work out. There's this deep sense of shame, and it and it just changes my mindset. And so, and when my gym is open, that way I literally roll out of the bed, put on my tennis shoes, brush my teeth, and walk out the door. And that has made it where I'm actually able to work out before school starts when we're having our normal routine.
Jeff, this is why I told you we needed Kim Bearden on the podcast. This is why.
That's the best thing I've ever heard.
It is. Awesome. It's like taking the walk of shame if you don't work out before changing out.
I was waiting for the class. Like, I lay out my clothes in the morning. You lay them out nice and they're ready to go and everything's set. So you just grab and go. No, I just straight up sleep in them. Like I'm ready to go. Shoes on, car keys in my pocket. I'm ready to no. Like that's okay. So you just sleep. I love that though. That's great.
It works for me.
So I don't even know if I need to ask number 6. 'Cause I'm pretty sure that's the best piece of advice ever right there. So number 6 to wrap it up is, what's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Ron Clark told me not to take myself so seriously.
I don't think we're any risk of that right now. I think we're doing pretty good.
I may come across excessively goofy, but I can tell you that whenever I would be, because I am fortunate to do a lot of keynote addresses and speeches and speak in front of large groups, and I would. This was years ago. This was advice he gave me 13 years ago. But he saw me do a speech, and I got up there, and I was poised, and I was polished. And I got off the stage and he said, that was great, but I don't even know who you were up there. That's not who you are. You're goofy. And he said, let people see the Kim that I love. And I thought that was so sweet. And so it totally changed just the way I'm like, you know what? I don't know why I felt like I had to put on a persona. I don't want to make it sound like I was being fake, but it was more that I was just trying to be so serious. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to be myself. And it was the most freeing thing ever for me.
Oh, I love that.
I've been trying to get Ray to show other people her true colors, and she won't do that. Like, the way she treats me is not how she is on stage. Like, she's
all right,
much
Jeff
in real life than she is when she's.
See, I love the banter you all have, because it is a lot like Ron and mine. We're kind of like brother and sister, and we go at it and just have so much fun. I love it.
I don't know. It's probably about a year ago now when you started saying that, and I didn't know you were telling people that, and then I started saying it, and then we said it one time, like at the same time, and we're both like, "Whoa, wait a minute, what?" Yeah, brother sister. So
I just want you to know, Kim, Jeff and I are currently in a battle because he made shirts that he's selling online that says #Team Jeff and #Team Ray. And I want the world to know #Team Ray has sold more t-shirts. So obviously we can keep picking on Jeff.
That is great.
I already have a #Team Jeff on the way to Kim. Like, I'm going to send it there, and that's going to win it. So I actually considered, Kim, I considered making the #Team Ray shirts like super expensive and never in stock, and no one can buy them.
Or like only extra smalls or something.
You guys laugh all you want.
I'm going to bring Kim in to figure out how to win this thing. I got a secret weapon now.
Listeners, do not side with Kim. You are Team Ray all the way.
This is fantastic. I love it.
Well, Kim, outside of us sending you a #Team Ray t-shirt, which we'll be doing very soon, I also want our listeners to make sure they can stay connected to you, because like I said at the beginning, and I don't want to, embarrass myself, but truly, you have done so much for me. And I know we haven't really met. I know we're not close friends, but following your career, learning from you, I am a better educator because of the work that you do. And I really, really, really would encourage our listeners. This is a must connect with educator. And I'd love if you could share kind of how they can stay connected so you can continue to share your message and do all the amazing things you continue to do to support teachers.
Well, that means the world to me, Ray. Thank you, truly. So I'm at Kim Bearden everywhere, which makes it really easy. So it's KIMB like boy, EARDEN. And then on Facebook, I have two different Facebook accounts. There's a Kim Bearden one, but there's also Kim Bearden Educator. But Instagram is really my go-to, and Twitter more than anything, more than the Facebook. But also, I got to give a shout out for the Ron Clark Academy, because a lot of the things I share, we're Ron Clark Academy in all forms of social media. And I do encourage educators to look. We're providing a lot of free online content for educators during this time, and also some other things that we're a nonprofit. And one thing that makes us unique is 100% of the things that we earn through our educator training go to support scholarships for students at the academy. And so there are some online opportunities too. If you go to our website, ronclarkacademy.com, you can learn how to join Club RCA, which is a weekly interaction with our staff and sharing ideas. We have a national conference that I'm not sure about the time this will actually be released, but it may have already passed. But there'll be other conferences that we're going to be holding online throughout the course of the summer. So ronclarkacademy.com, you can learn all about it, or on social media, we'll be posting updates.
That's awesome. And you can find all the links and all the resources, everything we mentioned in this episode over at teachbetter.com, as well as all the links and really important links to connect with Kim, connect with the Academy, and learn about everything they have going on. Get your hands on all those free resources. So make sure you head over to teachbetter.com for all that in the show notes. Be sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss any upcoming episodes. And if you can give us a rating and review, we'd really appreciate that as well. And let's keep taking this one step further. Think of just 3 of your colleagues who need to hear these amazing stories and connect with amazing educators, and share this podcast with them. We would appreciate that. Kim, this was awesome. So excited, so happy to have you on. So excited for the new book and everything you have going on, and appreciate everything you do all the time in education, and appreciate you just taking some time, having some fun with us and chatting with us tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sorry we're already done. I could sit and laugh with y'all all night. So thank y'all for the. I love you.
We may have to do a part 2.
I want to be here to BFF. I love it. So thank y'all. Thank y'all so much. It's really been a pleasure, truly.
I love it. Until next time, let's get out there and let's teach better.